The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Coach Clowney, if you would open us up with a statement about the Wingate Bulldogs.
Wingate, man, wow, what a really good football team. It's just like you watch them on film right now. They're 2-0. Played Shaw the first week and then had Fayetteville last week. Just a really big, size-wise football team. Really experienced team. One thing that just pops out is when you look at their roster. A lot of graduates and seniors and redshirt seniors and juniors. So, experienced football team, really big, really, consistent in the things that they do. Joe and those guys have done a really good job with the football team.
Probably about as challenging a start as could be thrown at your program. West Georgia vaults into the national rankings. They're a top 20 team now, and now you face off against the top 15 team in Wingate. How are they similar? How are they different from what the Wolves brought to the table?
They're similar from an experience standpoint, but they're really different in what they do. Wingate's more of a power, going to knock you out the football team. West Georgia's a lot more finesse, going to throw you a better, not better job in the passing game, but going to do more things kind of on the perimeter in the passing game. So, Wingate's going to come in and they're going to punch you in the mouth, and then they're going to try to hit you deep with play actions and aggressive, both fast and physical on defense.
You bring up the passing game. Harrison Frost was highly efficient in week 1 against you. Shaw Crocker has been as efficient as anybody in the country through 2 weeks, completing 73% of his passes. What is there to do to disrupt a guy who, let's face it, he's a junior, but he's a 4-year player for the Bulldogs that has seen a lot through 4 years of starting?
He has, and that's one of the things I think that popped out when I looked last week. I think he was like 22 or 30. Just the efficiency is just there. He's done a great job of just kind of fitting balls in windows. A lot of the passes they've thrown have kind of been off of play action to where they try to get you running down, and then guys kind of lose guys on the back end. So we've got to do a good job as far as knowing where we are, knowing what's going on, making sure that we, if we have a guy, even though he blocks down or, he looks like he's blocking, we've got to stay locked on to that guy. The big thing for us is going to be competing out there on the perimeter. We won't know on that a ton the last 2 weeks.
Go up against another stout running back. Devizin was a massive load to deal with at 5'8", 250. Najir Peoples has been the same thing. 5'9", 220. What's it take to get him to the ground, the reigning SAC Offensive Player of the Week?
We're going to have to get more than one guy to the ball this week for sure. He does a good job keeping his feet running. So we've got to have guys, the initial guy get there, hold on, run your feet, and then we've got to have other guys that, come off of their assignments and then help us make plays.
Where's your team mentally through this 16-day layoff after a tough loss, building to this SAC opener?
I've been really pleased with our guys. You come when we come off the field last Thursday. The one thing I think that was significant to me was walking in. They don't know I'm there, but hear guys like, this is not who we are. And a lot of times it's easy to talk, but I think they've come out to practice just to say, hey, what do we need to do to get better? I think we understand we're at a point to where we've got to continue to work to improve, and then just to watch their attitude and their effort. Attacking practice last week during an open week. We kind of treated it like a camp week. And so, there's some things there that we felt like we need to get fixed. And we had a lot of energy. We had a lot of enthusiasm. It was fun to go out and practice. A big thing we talked about was putting purpose to practice. And, we evaluated that every day. And I thought that, you could see that. It was evident that they were trying to work to get the things done that we need to get done.
For as youthful and inexperienced as you are in some spots, how much do you emphasize the process over the results at this standpoint?
I think that's the main thing. We all want to see the results, and we referred to it last week as, putting gas in a gas tank, because I had this unique experience. I was going to mow my yard, and I got there, and there was no gas in my tank, and then I had no gas in the can. So I didn't take the time to invest to, really put into the gas can in my tank that I needed so that I can get my grass mowed. And so we just kind of use that reference on the field. We've got to go out and practice, and we've got to put purpose behind what we do, and it's got to mean something. We've got to understand what it means and how it correlates to a game so that we can go out and perform on Saturdays. And so that has kind of been the thing, and they've kind of bought into working to get that done. And so now the thing that happens is it's not always immediate. We want to see it happen really fast, and that's the biggest thing we're told. We're going to be a good football team. The question is how fast are we going to get there? And so that's the challenge, is for them not just to work to get there, but to work to get there as fast as we can.
So I guess the question is, how fast did you drive to the gas station to get the gas?
It was pretty urgent. My wife was going to be on me if I didn't get the yard mowed. So.
Obviously, it is a very young team, and there's a lot of guys that are playing collegiate football for the first time. It felt like a lot of the guys were thinking the game more than reacting to the game. Do you do anything as a coach to enhance their aggressiveness on the field?
We have to put them in tough situations. And like, a lot of times, like in today's game, that's not fun, because a lot of time in the today's game, it's like, let's kind of mosey around and run a lot of plays. But it goes back to fundamentals. It's still blocking and tackling. When we go back and evaluate, we didn't do a whole lot, and the things that we worked on, we picked one or two things that, as coaches, we probably could have done better as far as getting, not necessarily ready, but repping would be the word. But like overall, just the lights came on, and like I don't know if we really understood the game as fast and how fast it moves. At practice it moves pretty good, but like when you go play, top 25 teams, then you're working on the upper echelon, and then we got to respond accordingly to that.
Offensively, passing game was a little off at times. Looked like the running game had their moments, just not that consistency level offensively. What kind of changes have you seen from your team over the last 2 weeks getting ready for this weekend?
The biggest thing we got to do is you evaluate what we're doing. That's what we talked about, making sure we can find the flow and the rhythm. Really the second time in the offense, and still not with the same guys that we ran it with the first time. So just making sure that, we evaluate what we're doing at the same time. The next thing you do is evaluate who you're doing it with. And so we kind of open competition back up to kind of give guys a chance to compete, to see which guys would move and compete to be ready to play in this game this weekend.
When you look at defensively, obviously the linebacking crew is your most experienced. I thought Alonzo Houston was potentially your best player on the field on both sides of the ball in the last game. As a former linebacker yourself, what do you see from Alonzo so far this year that he can be one of those leaders and one of the best linebackers in this league?
The thing that's unique was like, going into the season, Brooks would have been the starter there. So Brooks was out. Alonzo has an opportunity to come in and play. And so he took his opportunity and he made the most of it. And I think that's the thing that you really want to see guys, like not just sit back and wait for your turn, but be prepared that when your turn shows up, that you can just kind of attack and work to win position.
Wingate runs about 70 plays a game. They ran, I think, 43 times game one, 36 times game two. How critical is it for you to win on first down so you can get off the field on third down and get the ball back to your offense?
That is so vital, because like that was one of the major things that we didn't do. Like for us offensively, like we didn't put ourselves in position on first down to making calls a whole lot easier. I think that's going to be a big deal for us this week, because if we can hold them on first down and put them in a little bit more predictable situations, for young guys, it gives us a little bit better chance to compete.
Special teams is obviously a big deal. They have a great return man averaging 33 yards per carry. Devon made a game-changing type return the other day. When you look at special teams in this matchup, could this be the thing that decides who wins and loses?
And that's one thing that sticks in my mind, because there's a couple times that we've went there the last couple of years, and it really has dictated, who won and lost the game, like a return punt or a block punt. And so, it's really, we've got to do a good job of making sure that we understand how critical, special teams are. They blocked a field goal last week. It's something that we've got to be aware of and be prepared to defend.
We heard a lot throughout the offseason how great and how talented a lot of the skill position players were offensively, and particularly at the wide receiver position. How do you ensure that everybody's getting touches so that you are utilizing some of the best players on your roster?
I think when you get into that one, it's one of those things like you want to make sure that we can kind of get the ball out there where our talent is, but you can't go into that saying, hey, we've got to make sure and make all these promises. The biggest thing that we want to do is we want to do what we do well, and we want to take whatever defense gives us. And, then we want to kind of put guys in the right position to take advantage of what we're seeing from those perspectives. So that's probably the overriding factor of like us kind of finding a way to put those guys in position to where they can help us. That was discouraging, for us and for them, because we did feel like, Thursday we had some guys that, were out there that we couldn't necessarily get the ball to. And we've got to do a better job of making sure, like, from an execution standpoint there, that we know where we're at and what we're doing too.
Kind of, Lynn, you mentioned execution. How close, how far off were you Thursday?
Not as far off as you felt like coming off the field. You know, we felt like there were some things that we did well, but when a couple of little things break down, it violates your trust, it violates your confidence. And so, you know, if I'm a quarterback and I'm going to throw a ball to the receiver, I need to know where he's at, you know, and vice versa. If I'm the receiver and I run a route, I need to know the quarterback's going to be on time. So those relationships and timing are so important to everything that we do.
Trey Mitchell has obviously struggled. It feels like he's put an immense amount of pressure on himself because of who his mother is in relation to Carson-Newman Athletics and who his cousin is, Andy Hibbett, a Harlan Hill Trophy finalist. How do you get him to just be himself and back off some of that pressure?
You know, I think Trey's competitor. And, you know, I think that's one thing that, you know, has driven the other members of that family that's had success here is they've been competitive. You know, like Andy, you know, we never thought that Andy would leave here as an All-American running back. There were hard times that he endured at points. And so the biggest thing is you just keep your head on the grindstone and you keep moving and you keep working and you keep attacking and you keep performing. And you don't let that stuff discourage you. And once you get discouraged, that's when things start kind of going the wrong way. You find out your problems, you fix them, and you move forward.
You look at Wingate defensively, and nobody's gotten into the red zone yet this season against them. Yeah, they've given up points, but it's been on longer touchdowns, not a lot of sustained runs. What do they do so well to bottle teams up and especially get off the field on third down?
They run to the football. You watch their linebackers, they're hard downhill, they're aggressive on run. Their secondary guys, you watch an interception where the ball's thrown, it's tipped, you know, and they go get an interception just because that extra effort. And I don't even call it extra. It should be normal effort. But they give that effort it takes to win football games and put yourself in being the top 25 team.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.